Coming up on The Real Deal, the stuff of legend. Osama Bin Laden, unreachable, hidden in the Hindu Kush. His evasiveness a metaphor for his power over the U.S., the most hated man in America for organizing the 9/11 attacks. Pakistan's president openly suggested the U.S. was helpless to find Bin Laden, that he wasn't even there.
If you knew where Osama Bin Laden was, would you go in and get him and turn him over to the United States?
Let's not talk about whether we'll turn him over to the U.S. or we'll do something here.
But under the radar, America's heroes tracked Bin Laden's scent to a palatial compound, not hidden in a remote village. All the ironies ended when a SEAL team raided Bin Laden's lair, taking him down by force in a hail of gunfire. Americans sang out with relief at the news that King of Terror was no more. And that is the real deal. All right, everybody, welcome to Ground Zero and The Real Deal. We're here because we have to be, and we're bringing it out live to you. If you're watching online, ABC News Now, right now, this is where it all began on 9/11. This is where it all comes back when we hear about Osama Bin Laden being gone. This is the place where the country felt the wound. The question is, what does this mean now that Osama Bin Laden is no more? Do you even believe that? Should we have some kind of proof? There are a lot of considerations about this situation, what it means today, what it means going forward. But first, remember, this wasn't just a flash in the pan. The hunt for Osama Bin Laden didn't even just happen after 9/11. This has been going on well longer than a decade. So let's take a look at what the search about Osama Bin Laden was all about. August 1998, then President Clinton orders a Tomahawk missile strike on an al-Qaeda training camp in Afghanistan in response to the bombings in Kenya and Tanzania. Bin Laden manages to escape death, having reportedly left the camps just prior to the attack. December 2001, the U.S. bombards his reported mountain hideout in the Tora Bora region of Afghanistan. Rejoice turns to rejection when reports of Bin Laden's death prove to be false. November 2002, reports surfaced that Bin Laden is ravaged by kidney disease. However, a doctor who treated Bin Laden in the days following 9/11 discredits these claims. September 2006, Bin Laden's health once again takes front and center as a leaked French intelligence report claims Bin Laden died of typhoid in Pakistan. These claims are quickly refuted. May 1st, 2011, May Day. President Barack Obama announces to the world that a U.S. military operation in Pakistan has killed Osama bin Laden in an intense firefight. All right, so that's the backstory. We're going to get what happened and what it means. And also, we're going to talk this morning about true American heroes, literally superheroes in our midst, the Navy SEALs. Very little known. You're going to learn more about them today. We have two excellent guests to help us understand this situation. Literally, they lived this situation. We have Mr. John McLaughlin, former acting director of the CIA, and Mr. Robert Baer, a former CIA officer. Gentlemen, thank you both for joining us. Mr. McLaughlin, I'll start with you. Let's dispel the issue of intrigue surrounding the death of Osama bin Laden. The question is, to show or not to show, what are the policy considerations with whether or not to show proof of the death of Osama bin Laden?
Well, Chris, it's a little hard to have a strong opinion on that without having seen the photographs. I would have to see them to make a recommendation to someone. I think, on balance, I don't think it's essential to show those photographs. Al-Qaeda knows he's dead. The world knows he's dead. Even if you show the photographs, there'll be a couple of lunatics here and there who will insist that it's all a conspiracy. So my view might change if I saw the photographs. A lot of it depends on what they actually look like, but that's where I would come down at this point.
You have to be careful, I guess, about showing something that's so grotesque that the disrespect winds up becoming a catalyst. Is that the point?
That's part of the point. Some would say that showing a really disheveled and destroyed image would demonstrate that he died in a way that was not heroic. But I think that's stretching a little too far to justify it.
Mr. Baer, let me ask you something. There are also these questions about the optics, how Americans come across in hearing this information. Do we celebrate too much? Does that send the wrong message? Does it show we're no better than the people that we condemn for how they disrespect American life? What do you think about that? How should we be perceived? Does it matter?
Oh, I think we can celebrate this. You know, we're running into a lot of sensitivities, but this man did attack the United States on 9/11. He killed 3,000 innocent people. That's understood in the Muslim world. It's understood, the whole idea, the very elemental idea of revenge. They get it. This man's time had passed. He's ended up killing more Muslims than he did Americans. At the end of the day, I think a lot of people would be happy to see him gone. This is a historic moment. It's going to allow us to come to a conclusion of this war in Afghanistan much quicker than before. And frankly, you know, we won. We got the guy we won.
So let's unpack the significance a little bit. As you guys know, I'm here at Ground Zero. This is where it all began. Countless people lost someone who meant everything to them here. So many journalists like myself, we were here for weeks seeing the pain, and all of it wound up being connected to catching Bin Laden. So I ask you both now, what does it mean to our safety going forward that this man is no more? Mr. McLaughlin, I begin with you. How big a deal is this?
Oh, it's a really big deal. It's a big deal symbolically, it's a big deal tactically, and it's a big deal strategically. It's a big deal in the sense that we had no choice but to go after this guy and find him. We would have seen our counterterrorism policy as a failure if we hadn't done that. And the benefits of getting him are numerous. I think there will be a fractious debate within Al-Qaeda now about A, who's in charge, B, what do they do next, C, what's their strategy going forward. They've taken a number of hits in recent months, including in some ways we could talk about in the Middle East with all of the turmoil going on there. At the same time, I think we'd be mistaken to say that the fight is over, that Al-Qaeda is defeated. It has morphed, changed, transformed in the last 2 or 3 years to the point where its affiliates, particularly the one in Yemen, are dangerous, and they will be inspired by a variety of things, possibly even including his death, to try harder. So the battle's not over, but one significant victory has occurred, a very important one.
Well, that's the flip side to the argument, Mr. Baer, is you didn't cut the head off the snake. It's actually a worm. And what you did was you cut the head off a worm, and it will just grow a new one or just move the other way. What do you make of that type of suggestion, Mr. Baer?
Well, I agree with John. We're going to see some remnants trying to take revenge for this. There's going to be a couple attacks here and there. You know, how successful they'll be, I don't know. But at the end of the day, again, you know, we have to look at the Arab Spring. The people that are really changing things in the Middle East are not Bin Laden and the people that were murdering for him, but the street, the Arab street is coming out, and they are going to bring change, democracy, I hope, and the rest of it. And this is going to make this man look all the more irrelevant. And if we do release these pictures, he clearly didn't die heroically. He died in his bedroom, hiding and scared, and he's irrelevant.